What's up, everybody? It's the Common Sense Investor coming at you with another video. And in this video is going to be video number 2 in the playlist concerning the AMC's annual meeting held November 8th, 2023, and the proposals that we'll be voting on. Last night in video number 1, if you haven't watched it, you can go check it out. We talked about proposals 1, proposals 2A, and proposals 2B. Now, some people still had questions concerning this proposal, and I'll address those in just a moment. But first, let me say this. I gave y'all a warning in the first video. I told y'all people would be reading this first page and then rushing to do a video about it, telling you this what this meant, and they would be absolutely wrong, and that's exactly what's happened, okay? On the surface, when you read 3 and 4, you see words like to eliminate the prohibition against stockholders acting by written consent. All right, and this gives you the impression that the prohibition against us being able to write in and make a demand upon the board is now lifted, but that's not what that means. The fourth one is to approve an amendment to remove the limitation of stockholders' ability to call special meetings. They're telling people that means that now I will have the ability, you will have the ability, she will have the ability, every stockholder will have the ability to write in and request a special meeting of the board. That's not what that means. All right? I'm sorry. They are not putting control of AMC into the hands of shareholders in these two proposals. I heard that last night by one person, and this document and this meeting is not their exit plan where they're planning on leaving the company and putting it in the hands of retail investors, and then whatever it happens to AMC. No, that's not what this means, people. You should have learned by now, or be able to understand what I mean by now, when I say that when they use the phrase stockholders, they are not referring to me and you, okay? That the phrase stockholders here, and they're going to define it in just a moment, I'm going to show you, is not us, it's them, the institutions, all right? Now let's take a look, and you're going to understand. Let me read it real quick, and then we're going to go to the part. To approve an amendment to our certificate of incorporation to eliminate the prohibition against stockholders acting by written consent. And then 4 goes along with it, to approve an amendment to our certificate of incorporation to remove the limitation on the stockholders' ability to call special meetings. Stop. Now, when I read that, and I said that's impossible. You can't do what they're talking about doing in this proposal. Do you realize how many people, 3.8 million shareholders, they will get 500,000 requests a day from shareholders of AMC? You've seen what it was like when it was in the court. So you think AMC is setting it up to where all the shareholders can flood AMC with written requests? No. So what does it mean, CSI? To understand what they mean, we have to first understand how these proposals came to be, okay? AMC, Adam Aaron wasn't just sitting at his desk and he drew up these proposals. On page 55, let me jump over there real quick. Stockholder outreach. All right, stockholder outreach. Same word is being used in the proposal. In response to a low participation rates and significant unfavorable votes cast at the 2022 annual meeting of stockholders, the company undertook meaningful efforts following last year's annual meeting to conduct outreach to substantial stockholders in order to solicit feedback on a number of topics. What shareholders? Substantial shareholders, okay? This includes executive compensation, corporate governance. During the past year, members of the senior management, that would be Adam Aaron, that would be Merriweather, that would be Goodman. All right, members of the senior management and independent members of the board held meetings with the company's largest stockholders on a broad range of corporate governance topics. During the 2022, institutional investors held only 25 to 30% of outstanding stock, with the balance held by retail investors. That means in 2022, retail investors owned between 70 and 75% of the stock. Okay? So that's one revelation for you right there. How much do we own? We own 70 to 75% now. Meetings were requested with all institutional investors holding more than 1% of our outstanding stock, and held with institutional investors holding approximately 12% of stock in aggregate. These meetings yielded a highly constructive, thoughtful, and productive dialogue with who? The 1%ers of the outstanding shares. We'll talk about that in just a second. It yielded highly constructive, thoughtful, and productive dialogue on all sides. As a result, the company has undertaken a number of actions to specifically address concerns raised by who? Stockholders. What stockholders? The 1%ers. The people that are holding 1% or more of the stock. All right, that's your BlackRocks. That's your State Streets. That's your Susquehannas. That's your, you getting the picture now. All right, they had a meeting with all of these people, the institutional shareholders. Fuck the retail. He wanted to hear from these people. And from these meetings, the proposals here were created. So, now, we get back to the elimination of the prohibition against stockholders acting by written consent. All right? We have to read what that means in this document, and we got to go to page 25 where they're talking about proposal number 3, and they explain exactly what they mean. They want to take out this section in the article of incorporations that we have, okay? Now, specifically, the prohibition against stockholders acting by written consent is referring to a stockholder cannot write in and tell the board they want to have a special meeting, that something's come up and we need to address it, okay? Now they're saying they're going to remove that and they're going to allow stockholders to have that right. But what I want to bring to your attention, and I hope everybody's made it this far because this is the most important part of proposal number 3. These voting limitations prohibiting stockholder actions by written consent may also have the effect of providing anti-takeover protection to the company. Stop. Let's talk about that for a minute. How is having a prohibition for stockholders writing in a request for special meetings, how is that an anti-takeover measure? Very simple. Antar, for example, comes in, they buy up 20% of the float. All right? Now they write in a request to the board to have a special meeting to evict 3 of the board members. Now they have that right, see? But with this clause in place, if we don't remove it, well then people cannot come in, institutions can't come in and buy up the fucking stock, call a special meeting of the board, and then kick some of them out, and then you got a hostile takeover in action. See? So why is this important? This is the second anti-takeover measure that Adam Aaron is lifting. All right, he's attempting in proposal number 1 to declassify. Remember that? Go back and watch that video and you'll see. That is an anti-takeover measure, and he's lifting that. And in proposal number 3, he's lifted the restrictions for shareholders of 1% or more to be able to write in and request a special meeting of the board. Now they will have that power. So next week, if Antar comes in and scoops up all the shares, then, or a majority of the shares, then they could do just like they did with 8. Only they could call a meeting of the board and then evict the ones they don't want and put Antar people there, and AMC has just been taken over. So that's the second time you had proposal number 1 and proposal number 3 that's lifting an anti-takeover measure protection of AMC. So now you know why they want to eliminate the prohibition against stockholders. They're not talking about me and you. They're talking about the institutional holders to have the ability to write in and request a special meeting. All right? And number 4 gives them that right. Okay? So there you go. Proposal number 1, and they're removing the anti-takeover measure. Proposal number 3 and 4, they're removing anti-protection for anti-takeover measures. All right? So you see where this is going. Somebody is planning a takeover. All right? So I don't want to hear the bullshit about going bankrupt. That's bullshit. AMC's not going bankrupt. He sounds like one of the yes-tards now. And y'all know who I'm talking about. Bankrupt. AMC's going bankrupt. Sound like a fucking yes-tard. All right? So with that, understand, they are setting this up for a takeover, people. Who? I've got an idea. I'll share that with you in a later video. So with that, be blessed. In the next video, I'm going to be covering number 5. Oh, and number 6, which I heard one YouTuber say, well, that's not really important. Yeah, just go ahead and vote yes for that. But I'm going to show you why you should vote no for proposal number 6 in the next video. Love y'all. Be blessed. See you then.